Welcome to the Angler Talk Podcast with Chris and Aaron. Brought to you by FishingMagicianTV.com.
What is up, everybody? It's Chris and Aaron back for another week episode of Angler Talk. How we going, brother?
Good, man. Good. Again, Chris, I keep saying I'm looking forward to the next guest and the next guest, but I mean, the information that we're able to give our listeners from interviewing these people, it's just, it's priceless, man. I wish I had some of this, inside knowledge back when I was in New Jersey trying to, catch some bass, because it would have been a whole different world. I guarantee it.
Oh, absolutely, man. And this week we got a nice special guest. His name is Frank. He runs Gabrielle Bait and Tackle down in Brick, New Jersey. And we switch gears a little bit and we talk about the industry and some things that are wrong and what's going on. And also we get to talk to Frank about some fishing gear, which we all love. Every fisherman's closet looks like a little miniature tackle shop of its own.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, you know what? We talked about some things that are wrong, and we also talked about some things that are right. So, Frank's got a lot of things going on in that bait shop, and it's not just for Frank. It's for Frank's family. It's for everybody in the community. It's, clubs alike. Frank is and seems to be the guy that, is just willing to help anybody that walks through the door, from the beginners to the hard, core guys. He's got something for you, man.
Absolutely, man. And guys, just remember, if you like what you're seeing, hit that smash that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe, so that way other fishermen can help find us. This helps us go a long way. It helps bring the show together better, and so much more you can do to help us. Thank you so much. Hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Frank. Here we are. 2, 1. Here we go, guys. Here we are with Frank over from Gabrielle Bait and Tackle. How we doing, bud?
Good. I'm doing good. How you guys?
Not too bad. Just get ready for that the striper run to be in full effect. I mean, they're around. We're plucking away at them, but the big migration hasn't gone by yet, but they're coming for sure.
Oh yeah, matter of time.
Yeah, doing good, Frankie. I'm excited to have you on, man. We've been following you for quite some time. I used to when I was in New Jersey, I would social media bait shop hop. So I would use it as like a reference before I picked the spot that I'm going to go target.
Yeah.
And your shop was always one of the shops, man, that always kept on time information online, to where I was able to be like, all right, these guys are doing okay down south or up north a little bit, and that's how I'd probably gauge my fishing trips.
Yeah, we try to keep the report up to date every day. I get a lot of guys that are out there fishing all the time. My customers are pretty open. We get some guys complain we're spot burning, but this day and age, there's no such thing as spot burning. That's gone.
Exactly, man. Fish have tails. They're constantly moving.
Yeah, and Facebook take care of that anyway. They're here one day, they're gone the next. But still, we pride ourselves in getting guys out there fishing and get them on the areas where to go. That's our big thing, is customer service and get them out there fishing. So
that's what every good bait shop does. They put their customers on the fish, so that's a good thing that you do that. So Gabrielle Bait and Tackle, been around for a while, right? When did you open up the doors?
Well, Gabrielle Tackle opened up in 2017. I was a firefighter. I got hurt on a job. I got forced to retire early. I miss it. I loved it. The only other thing I loved more than fighting fires being fishing. So what else was I going to do? So I'm not the type of guy to work in an office. I'm not politically correct in any way or form. I wouldn't last a week in an office.
Yeah.
Oh, with the changes and everything. So I decided to go into business. And my son works for me. My daughter works for me. My son's girlfriend's going to be working for us this year. I opened up a second location in Chadwick Beach. So we're expanding out. Our next thing is go big online. That's our next objective. And hopefully, that'll work out good, because you got to make money while you're sleeping.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, man, I want to thank you for being a firefighter. Thank you for your service. That's a very important role in any community, and I really commend you for that. So thank you for that.
Ditto, bud.
Yeah. So you're located in Brick, New Jersey, right?
Brick, New Jersey, and our second location we opened up in Chadwick Beach.
All right. So how's the striper fishing been down there?
Well, the back bay's been hot, man. I tell you, it's been a good year. It amazes me when you hear guys say there's no fish. It's like, where are you guys fishing? Where are you going? How are you missing this? The weather's been playing a big part of it. It's been up and down. 1 week it's beautiful, next day it's snowing. And then it's raining.
Yeah.
Yesterday I went out for open day of trout. I do it once a year with a couple of my buddies. That's all. I get my trout stamp, just go once a year, and it changed. Let's see, went from 60 to 50 to hailing to sun came out. It rained for an hour. We still had a good day despite the weather, but we always have fun anyway. We just roasted each other all day long. So
Yeah,
I'm man, I do.
The trout run in New Jersey is always a big tradition between fishermen to go, whether you're a diehard salt guy or not. I know guys who say freshwater sucks, but they're always out there on opening trout day. So
yeah, I mean, I started off freshwater fishing when I was about 7 years old. My grandfather took me over to, we had a house, summer home in Manahawk in New Jersey. And my grandfather took me over to, it was Kmart at the time. And he bought me a rod and bought me a combo set, a tackle box. And there was this little pond in the neighborhood. And I went over there, I started catching sunnies, pickerel, bass. And that's how I got started with it because nobody else in my family fished.
Right.
And my grandfather was the one who got me into it. And ever since then, I've just been hooked on it. It's like, I love doing it. I love being on the water, whether I'm on the beach, in the bay. I don't care. I don't care if I'm offshore. I just love being out there. To me, it's like you forget about all your problems in the world. Nothing else matters but being out there.
The tug is the drug.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I was going to ask you, Frank, who got you started into fishing, but I mean, you pretty much answered that. What was the first taste of salt that you got, man? Other than the pond fishing, when did you kind of get into saltwater, and who got you started with that?
Well, I pretty much did that myself because I was living in Old Bridge, and I got my license, and of course, girls came into play for a little while, so I didn't fish too much in high school. But I was like, every time I went over to Morgan Bridge, and I looked over, I want to fish this bay, I want to fish the bay, and I always read the Fisherman magazine. I always read that a lot and seen the fish being caught, and I'm like, I got to get into the saltwater. So I went out and bought myself Chief combos from one of the big box stores, and I went out there and I blew them up left and right. And down the road, I finally went out and started buying better tackle, and just there was history. I was just, once you get into your first striper and your first bluefish, I think it's all over.
Yeah. I agree. It was tough for me. We were down in South Jersey, so I would always get the reports from up north, and it always sounded and seemed like you guys had such an extended run than what we had down south. It was like, if you weren't on friggin' time and on the beach when these friggin' fish swam by, 2 days, they're gone, and in Brielle's friggin' catching them. Forkett River, it constantly kept going up north till it hits Montauk, and I'm sitting down south waiting for it to turn back around again,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a little tougher.
Yeah.
Tougher. But rare in the bay is like, this time of year, you can't beat it. I mean, it's awesome. I had that bay down to a science, and when my kids were young and I was first married, I told my wife, as soon as just right around St. Patrick's Day, I was out there with my bloods and sandworms, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, hoping I'm not going to get called into work because I was also a fire marshal. So I was getting called into work. I'm out there banging fish all night long, come home, sleep 2-3 hours, and then go right to work and start all over. As long as I had the tides, mapped out and everything, I would sit there with a calendar. Okay, these are the days you're not going to see me tonight. I'm leaving at this time to go fishing. Don't bother me.
Well, that's something I've been a little spoiled with. Raritan Bays. I don't live there, but I call it my backyard. That's where I fish, and we're lucky. That's where the stripers come up, and they go spawn inside the Hudson, and at the end of April, beginning of May, is just. You can literally throw anything on a hook and catch a striped bass out there. I mean, it's just a striped bass fisherman's paradise, and I'm lucky to grow up fishing that.
Yeah, well, we're definitely blessed with that fishery, that's for sure. The thing is, I'm getting worried because they're talking about shutting it down for 2 weeks.
Yeah, they are. I just saw the new regulations for the fluke and the sea bass, and I think we're gonna have two slot fish, 17 inches to 17.99 for fluke, and then 1 over 18. Sea bass went down to, I believe it's 8 fish per person.
Yeah, I didn't fully read the sea bass regs yet. I'm still trying to comprehend these fluke rigs because it's gonna be tough with the tournaments.
Yeah,
it's tough with the charter boat. It's gonna be tough. Unfortunately, I think what's gonna end up happening, I think they should have just set a limit like 17.5 or at least 17.
Yeah.
Just left it at that. 3 fish at 17 and just left it at that. Extended the season a little longer for the guys. I mean, the fishing is getting better each and every year. And
right.
It's been. And, my biggest gripe with that is they're always crying there's no fish. There's no fish.
Oh, there's plenty of fish.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And especially, I think, with COVID, with the commercial fishing shut down, I think fishing even increased even more. They did the beach replenish down by me in Brick. 2018, there was no stripers. There was nothing to be found off the beaches. And the beaches they replenished, you couldn't even walk down it because you were sinking. It was like quicksand. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But all the fish went offshore.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're doing in Raritan Bay, little by little. I mean, this is insane to say this but for somebody who fishes Raritan Bay as hard as I do every year, I mean, I've noticed a decline in fish. You know, the sand replenishment is ridiculous. They're destroying the bay with all the drilling and everything that they're doing. I mean, it's not that there's the fish are diminishing. I mean, you destroy the habitat. What makes you think the fish are going to come back? There's nothing for them to eat there. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember last year we were 70 miles offshore tuna fishing, and we're catching striped bass.
I was just going to say that. I had a guy 17 miles out. He thought it was bluefin banging the hell out of his school of bunker. And so they went out. They went out there, threw out these big, huge poppers. The cast ended up pulling up huge stripers. I mean, and it was tons.
I had a guy next to me on the boat, and it's not official because, number one, it's illegal to fish stripers past 3 miles. We caught it by accident. Yeah. But on the scales that we bring on the boat, talk about a 68-pound striped bass. Now, give or take a few pounds because those scales are not always 100% accurate, but that's a big striped bass.
Yeah.
68 pounds, that's pretty monstrous of a fish. And this is 70 miles offshore.
Yeah. Oh, I know. We're not going for tuna. We're nailing stripers and bluefish on the tuna. And for tuna, we're nailing bluefish and stripers. Like, you're not supposed to be here. But it's like, oh, the rockfish. They like structure. They stay inshore. No, they go offshore, and they don't know. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like, I hate to say this, and I'm not trying to criticize anybody or put them down, but I think they need to take a more active approach on getting out there and talking to the fishermen, finding out what's really going on. You can't say, you can't just listen to one group of guys, because my attitude is 90% of fish are caught by 10% of fishermen. That's the reality.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Talk to guys, send them where to go. Some guys still don't listen. You tell them what tides to go, and they will listen, and they don't catch, and they don't produce. And they get so up and bet that shit. Well, I didn't get any fish. There's no fish here. No, they're there. You just got to put your time in, work hard at it, and you'll get them. We'll lead you as much as possible. I mean, I get customers all the time calling me up. Thank you. You put me right on the fish. I went right at the right time. Because I try to make it, I had no one teaching me. So whenever a customer comes in, it's new, doesn't know much about it, I want to try to get them into that same realm where, hey, guys, this is where to go. This is what to do. This is what to use. This is what's biting now. But again, it's fishing. It's not catching. So
exactly.
You may get them, you may not get them. But you got to go out and give it a hard try. I mean, there's times I'm out in the rain blowing sideways at me, banging fish all night long.
Right. It's like, that's when they love it. They love that sloppy weather.
Oh, yeah. And everybody's looking at me like, what are you doing out here? But the beach replenishment really put a hurting on the surf fish in 2018. And each year you see, as the environment's getting back to its natural habitat, the natural reefs are starting to show up again. Bait fish are back. Things are happening. And last year we had an awesome striper season.
Oh, absolutely. It's great.
Oh, God, you came right out of Massaquan Inlet. You banged the left. You went up by Shark River, and you were just on fish the whole entire time.
Wow.
And the big new thing, the flutter spoons are the big new thing. Everybody's oh my God, I can't keep them on the shelves. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, but Frank, I mean, I'll tell you, there was a time even, down South Jersey, speaking of, beach replenishment, and I know this is going to hit home with you. I mean, the weakfish, dude. There was a time when I was younger, it was just as plentiful as striped basses, just as plentiful as bluefish, but there was a spot out there in, I think it was the Great Egg Harbor Inlet, where there was a really nice jetty, ran across a bridge that was just newly built, and they came in and they dumped a bunch of rocks and like replenished the rock pile. Well, we didn't know how bad that actually was going to be for the weakfish, but it filled in a hole that they would come in and spawn in and actually, chase the bait, do whatever they did. They did there. And once that hole got filled in, you weren't catching weakfish at all around that entire area, dude. Like, you were lucky to get one, So
I haven't caught a weakfish in 10 years.
Right. A lot of guys.
10 years I haven't caught a weakfish. But I got a buddy of mine lives down south. And he's, I'm just going to say Lacey. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And he bangs the hell out of him every year. He walks across the street somewhere in the bay by his house, and there's tons of them. And we were doing reports. A lot of reports getting over by the Mount Logan Bridge that were showing up.
Right. And that's what I was going to say. I mean, I believe they're on, a steady rise because, like you said, COVID, the big long netters were put away. I think it gave them a chance. But even before COVID, I feel like they were gradually starting a comeback. You know what I mean? Because guys were catching even speckled trout, dude. Like, summer redfish. So I feel like, if they're wanting to come in and spawn and feed, then our own weakfish that are here, they're going to do the same. But, I'm happy to see, a slow comeback, if not, better than a slow comeback of the weakfish. That was my favorite. man.
Yeah, I mean, they're fun. They're a blast to catch. I mean, like I said, but I haven't caught one in 10 years.
Right, I know.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give a little spot burn, but one of my fishing clubs is Atlantic City Saltwater Anglers, and
Okay.
I see pictures all the time. Atlantic City Weakfish over the past 2 years has been awesome. I mean, anywhere from the T jetty, couple piers, they're all over the place down there, and they're biting paddle tails and everything like that. So the weak fishing is starting to make a comeback. At least in South Jersey, it is.
I think a big part of it had to do with that bay, too. The bay's been pretty, it was kind of dirty. After Sandy, there was a lot of debris in the bay, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because the water clarity was horrible. It's just, it needs to be cleaned up. It was kind of sad after Sandy. We had that right by the bridge. We had a breach, and it was a natural inlet, and they had a lot of trouble closing up. My fingers were crossed that they couldn't close it.
Right.
Because you could see the bottom of the bay.
Yeah.
You could actually see the bottom of the bay, which was surprising. So, but they ended up getting it closed, and they had 2 other breaches too. They ended up shutting down. I'm like, they should leave one of these open so that circulate this water through there, and it'll bring the environment back.
Right.
It'll bring everything back, and I think that might have an effect on the weakfish. With dirty the bays are and stuff.
Well, absolutely, because when I was a kid, I mean, me and my dad used to go to a spot, Cliffwood Beach, right? Off of Route 35. And we used to catch, I'm not talking about weakfish. I'm talking about monster weakfish, 30 plus inches, and this is like the filet mignon of the ocean. You know what I'm saying? It's a great tasting fish. My mother would literally slit my throat for a weakfish. That's how much she loves eating weakfish. But you know what I'm saying? And now you go to Cliffwood Beach, you walk out 100, 160 yards and the water never passes your waist.
Wow.
That's how bad Hurricane Sandy really destroyed that beach.
It changed the whole environment.
It did.
Yeah.
Absolutely did.
But that beach replenishment, I think, did 10 times worse damage. And the state doesn't want to hear that. So it's like with this the new change they want to do, they're going over the 2018 stock assessment.
Right.
You do one on 2022. So why don't you do the 2022 stock assessment first, then make a decision, not the 2018 when you had beach replenishment here.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was one of my big comments I sent in my email over to them, about it. Because I definitely, not only that, we're so overregulated, like striped bass.
Yeah.
217% above where they wanted to be with the striped bass. So what do? They turn around and give us new regulations on it, raise the size of the fish, cut them down so many at this time of year that you can't even keep track of it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny, I have customers coming, they're like, when's sea bass open? Well, not now. It's open here. It's closed here. Blackfish, the same thing now.
Yeah.
Blackfish is going to be the next one it's going to be, they're going to cut into because they're getting overfished.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I know sheepshead. And I mean, Chris, like, and I know sheepshead wasn't like a huge thing over the past few years, but it's getting there and it's gaining popularity and it's gaining traction. And I feel like that's just going to be the next thing on the friggin' chopping block, dude. Is there's this much in this place, so they're gonna drop a slot in there somewhere to where it's not.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's a matter of when it's. Well, look at bluefish. Bluefish. Right. I was at one of the meetings. They brought about the bluefish, and a couple of the bigwigs up there turned around and says, "Well, we don't have enough science on it, so how can you turn around and tell us to shut the bluefish down?" So the feds came in and did it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like you have no studies. You don't know what's going on. And guys are saying, oh, there's no bluefish in the bay. Well, if we're getting all these snappers, the bluefish are somewhere.
Right.
They're spawning them, so it's like obviously they're around. And I wasn't going to bring this up because I don't really like to get political, but last week, one of my other fishing clubs, the Highmore Striper Club, we met with the JCAA and we spoke about what's going on with sea bass. Now, a lady, I don't know her name nor remember what they said her name was, said that we're going to make cuts because for some ever reason they want to make cuts of sea bass. But through the NJMFC's statistic numbers, the biomass of sea bass has gone up in stock 48%, I believe they said. So why are you making cuts? Oh, because we don't know if that's accurate. So if your own data, you don't trust it, why should we?
Right.
In my personal opinion, I just think that they want to make everything Candyland commercial.
Yeah.
And this is not against the commercial guys, because I understand you guys are just working and putting plate. I understand that. But I think that what they want to do is they want to eliminate America's probably oldest pastime, which is fishing.
Yeah.
It's like, I prefer to go catch my fish come home and cook it.
Yeah.
Right.
They want you to go to the store and buy it.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
I just had a beautiful dinner of blackfish tonight.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
One of the best tasting fish in the ocean, no matter where you go. And I think they want to cut that out, and they want to put people out of business. I mean, you're a tackle shop owner.
Yeah.
I mean, with all these regulations going on, you can't sell the tackle. You can't sell the bait. And they're just making it harder for guys like you, charter captains like me, and other great friends that I have who are charter captains, and they just want to destroy everything. They want to make everything so commercialized. It's ridiculous.
I agree 100%. 100%.
They don't understand the damage that they're doing.
No.
I mean, like, if you have kids, you have a wife, you have to provide. If you go out of business, God forbid. But you know what I'm saying? Your kids got college, your kids got school, you got to put food on the table, you got a mortgage, and it's really disgusting what they're doing.
It is. And that was one of my biggest things. We're so overregulated as it is. The science is not true. It took the Fisherman magazine to co-op with somebody to put satellite tags on the stripers to actually show where they're going.
Yeah.
And and why didn't the state do that 20 years ago?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What is the problem here that you couldn't do that 20 years ago? You're supposed to call yourself biologists, and you're supposed to be the big advocates on this and know what's going on, and you couldn't do that 20 years ago?
Right.
So, I'm not against, I'm not insulting the Fisherman magazine. I praise them for what they did, and I helped.
Absolutely. Jim Hutchison does a good job.
Hutchison's awesome. I love him, man. He's a great guy. And, even during COVID, we had, the shop's open, the shop's closed. What are they doing? And he went right in there, and he was Top Gun for us, stuck right up for us. I owe that guy a lot. He's awesome. I can't.
Awesome dude.
Yeah.
But the fisheries, though, it's going to be what they're doing to the shops, basically, between the supply chains being beat up. The cost of fuel. So now a lot of guys aren't going to go out far with their boats. So a lot of guys are going to stay inshore if they take their boats out. Some guys already got their slips paid for. They're dropping their boats. Those boats won't leave the slip.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of customers talking about that. I'm not even taking the boat out. Putting it in, so I go down there, have dinner on it, hang out. Maybe take a little ride, but nothing. I'm not going to go 50 miles offshore. I'm not going to run out to the reefs every week. So it's definitely going to affect us. Then with all the over-regulations on the fishing industry on top of it, that's affecting us big time. They're putting the small mom and pops out of business. That's the way I look at it.
Absolutely.
And we're any tackle shop owner should be fighting tough and showing up at these meetings, voicing your opinions, and not just tackle, but all the charter captains.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everybody.
Say, hey, what are you talking about? There's no fish. Where were all these stripers last year? Where did they all come from?
Right.
No fish.
Yeah.
And why are you using a stock assessment that you did a beach replenishment that year, so stock assessment is probably going to be off?
Yep.
And you try to understand their train of thinking, and New Jersey just seems like you're right. It seems like they just want to take us and force us to buy fish.
Right.
Now, I have a lot of friends of mine, are commercial fishermen. I love them. I support them 100%. They got to make a living, But recreational wise, they're killing us.
Yeah.
And shop owners. And I got into this business. I didn't get into this business to become rich. I got into this business because I love it.
Right.
I love dealing with people. I love it. I love when I come in and have a father and son go out fishing for the first time, and they come back, and even if they just caught snappers, and see that little kid's face smiling, and enjoying his eyes, or just seeing a father and son who's been fishing and going out on a regular basis, and just the smile on the kids and the bonding that you see going on. Because, let's look at the reality. During COVID, it was the first time I seen kids outside playing. It was the first time families riding their bikes together.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah, man.
And you're watching all this, and you're like, wow, we're getting back to being families again. Because you know what it is when you go to restaurants. My kids are older. I'm 51 years old. I just became a grandfather 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching all my little grandkids. But when I go out to eat, and I sit there, and you see all the kids sitting at the tables, they're not interacting in the restaurants.
Right.
The kid's got an iPad in his hands. He's playing his games. They're not talking. Rule of my house, when my kids came home from school, phones are down. Don't answer that phone. I take it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And
in my opinion, this is a great tool to have, but it's the world's number one enemy in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And I know, Aaron, I want to get you in here, but I just want one more thing to say before I forget. Another thing that pisses me off and how they get their information. A couple years ago, I went out. Well, the party boat that I usually go out with is Captain Ron on the Fisherman out of Atlantic Highlands.
Okay.
And we're at the dock and, shooting a breeze after the trip, talking about, all the stuff. And then I see these MERPs guys. I believe that's what they're called. The guys who get statistics for the NJMFC and all that crap. They go up to one guy on Captain Ron's boat because Captain Ron, not to toot his horn, but he's probably the best captain in that fleet.
Yeah.
And catches the most fish, in my opinion. And they walk up to one guy. They saw he had a cooler full of fish. Oh, how many fish you catch? Oh, I caught this many. How many did you throw back? So what they do is they ask the Captain Ron, hey, Cap, how many people you have on board today? 56. They took that one guy's information, timed it by 56, and that's their numbers.
You know what makes me wonder? If most of these guys that are doing this, have they ever fished at all in their lives?
Yeah.
Guarantee you probably 97% of them don't.
Exactly. I mean, to shut it down around the bay in April, you're hurting the beginning of our season for the shops and the charters. Then if they're not going to do it in April, they're going to do it, I was told, in November around Thanksgiving.
Right.
Where you got relatives traveling from all over the country to come together to have Thanksgiving dinner together. And now you're going to turn around and take that yearly family, basically bonding day. And they shut that down now? Come on. And there's fish. I'm so fed up with it.
Frank, I get it. So let's switch gears here, right? And give the listeners a little bit of an idea on what the shop has to offer for 2022. This season coming up, man. Like, you guys have any kind of fishing tournaments going on? Any kind of club tournaments? Any kind of anything going on in the shop the listeners can look forward to stopping by and seeing you for?
Well, tournaments, we try to do little in-house tournaments. We kind of stopped it during COVID. I'm big on doing seminars in the shop.
Right.
And we usually do a couple in the spring. We do a couple in the fall. I just talked to another association to maybe move it over to there because the room's bigger. Because a shop, I have chairs. I even rented chairs for it. But we went from having 20 people showing up to now having 40 to 50 and even more. I mean, the one last summer I did with Tony Maja, I had my front door was open and the guys all sat outside. and my shop was packed. I mean, we were packed. But we stopped that because of COVID. So we're going to be doing that again. I'm going to probably do the one year we did Wanted Dead or Alive Bluefish tournament.
Okay.
In shop, and that worked out pretty well. So we're looking at doing that again this year. We're going to do that probably in the next. I'm probably going to announce that probably another week or two.
Nice.
We do that stuff. I'm always flipping out new ideas to do things. I try to keep everything fresh. I like to keep everything exciting. It's like I said, I love this so much, and I love when I see everybody going out and having such a good time doing it. And that's what makes it. And we were always flipping around ideas. So we talked about doing an in-shop fluke tournament. That's going to be tough now with the new regs. We did 1 year we did a striper tournament, catch and release. But now they tell us catch and release, we're killing more fish than doing any good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I fish. I'm pretty active fishing. And we all know, how many floaters have you seen around?
No. Yeah.
None.
Well, that sounds like there's a bunch of stuff to look forward to, man, to stop by the shop. As far as bait and tackle, I was able to see a couple little pictures and a couple videos of the shop, man. It looks like, Frank, you literally have everything from offshore to the back bay to the beach fishing. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. We carry everything. We cover all aspects. We even have some fly tying materials for the guys who fly tie, want to do their own teasers and so forth. We did have some fly rods in and stuff. That didn't do too well. And which I was surprised because there's no fly shops anymore.
Yeah.
Especially for the saltwater guys, there's no fly shops around.
Yeah, those places are now a dime a dozen.
Yeah. I mean, we're always looking to bring new products in. I like to bring new local guys in. And I like to do that because I like to see these small guys build up and get their businesses going. I'm a small guy myself. If I can help another small business going, especially, I love people. So if the guy's really cool, I want to help him out as much as possible. Like Toggy Time Jigs, he started out.
Ed's a great guy.
Isn't he? He's awesome. And he's awesome. Yeah. I met him at the Point Pleasant flea market. I was walking around.
I met him through his uncle. His uncle is a member of Hymar. That's how I know him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I met him at the flea market. I walked up to him. I was looking at his jigs. These are pretty nice.
Yeah.
Would you be interested in selling the shop? And he's like, yeah. As I said, come on down. And I've been doing business with him ever since he pretty much started. And like stuff like that. I love seeing that. And he's growing constantly. Bottom sweepers. We carry a lot of bottom sweepers too. We deal with Dan Schaefer. He's an awesome guy.
Yeah.
I want him in the shop to do a seminar. So if Dan listens to this, Dan, I want to do a seminar with you, buddy.
Yeah.
Nice.
And a podcast, Dan. So you better.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's something else. And we're always bringing the products in. Like now we've always been a Century dealer. I always loved Century rods.
Yeah, they make a hell of a product, man.
Oh, dude, they're awesome. And you can't. Everybody's like, oh, they're so expensive. But
yeah,
they are. But when you fish them, they're worth every nickel that it costs you to get that rod. You're like, how did I fish anything else? I remember the first time I heard about them, and I was looking at a rod, and I saw the price tag. I said $900. I said, dude, I could buy a hoopty for this. But I had a buddy of mine. We're actually surf fishing. I'm not a big surf guy. I like to be on a boat, and I like to go look for them. But I don't have an arm to cast. Let me tell you something, man. I was using this 9.5, 9.8 feet, and that thing, it rocks. That cast was easily 70 yards without barely putting any pressure on. I was like, yo, man, this is a hell of a rod.
Yeah, Century's man, for sure.
Oh man, they got it down. I have a 7-foot weapon and a 7-foot weapon junior.
Yeah.
And I tell you can bend those rods into U and they don't stop.
Right.
Yeah. It's amazing. I have a couple of surf rods. They have offshore rods now too. They do also have offshore rods.
Yeah.
Heard about that this year, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm a big Jigging World rod person. I love Jigging World rods.
They make nice stuff.
They do. It's I like very, very light tackle. My heaviest rod weighs 0.7 ounces.
I gotta get the weapon junior though. You got to feel the weapon junior.
Yeah. All right. I'll take your word. I'll try it out.
That'll take on a 40-pound striper with no problem. It's amazing the technology in these rods, and and I always love new stuff. I'm a big advocate with new technology and changes and so forth.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, you got to be. I mean, it's like it makes. And when you go out and cast that Century, though, like you say, it loads itself. I was up in Martha's Vineyard. We were fishing up there. My brother was up there. A bunch of my buddies we went up, and we're having a great trip. My brother's over there with his 11-foot. I'm not going to say the rod manufacturer. I don't want to bash anybody. But he has 11-footer up there, and I'm watching him break his ass trying to get distance on it. And I kept telling him, I says, try my Century. Try my Century. He's like, no, I love this rod. I love this rod. I'm next to him with a 9.6 out casting him.
Oh, man.
With no effort. My Century. And I'm like, he's looking at me, looks over at me and goes, what the hell are we doing? Casting competition? He says, no. I'm watching you tire yourself out like an idiot when you could be fishing lighter and when a rod is strong.
I grew up, my pops is a big ugly stick guy, as are most guys from the 70s and 80s. And don't get me wrong by any means, ugly stick is a phenomenal rod. You can't break it. You can literally run over it with a truck, because I've done it by accident, and it won't break. But at the end of the day, it's just a meat stick.
That's all it is.
You don't feel the fight. My dad, he doesn't, well, at least he didn't care about fighting the fish. He's just like, dinner, get in the boat. He didn't care about that. And one day I hand him over one of my Jigging World rods, and I got a 42-pound striper on a Ghost Hunter, which the Ghost Hunter weighs 4 ounces. And he's looking at me like, oh my God, what? His eyes are popping out of his freaking head, man. And I got him hooked, and, he started buying light tackle.
Yeah, it's funny. One of the guys I work with, he's a retired guy. This guy, John, he's awesome. And I bust his chops all the time because he finally just switched over to braid. Switched over to braid.
Oh, man.
I'm like, what is with you with this mono? I'm like, dude, please, just put, I wouldn't even charge it. Just put the damn braid on. And he blackfishes constantly, and he surf fishes constantly, and he's out constantly. I mean, even when he was still working, he was out fishing a lot. But now he's fishing almost every day of the week.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, Frank, you were right. It was a big changeover because you're feeling everything. The technology with a top quality rod, using the new braids that are out, with the power of the new reels, you got an unstoppable, fishing arsenal in your hand.
Absolutely.
And Frank, listen, it's a good thing that you stay with the times too, because I hear from a lot of guys, they get stuck in their ways, they get stuck with manufacturers, they get stuck with different companies, and they're like, listen, this has been proven to work. I don't want to even touch anything else. So it's a breath of fresh air to actually hear that you're with the times and you're down to try anything new. So I mean, you always got
to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's what we use as fishing gear is a tool, like anybody in their craft. If you're a carpenter, some guys like Makita, some guys like D-Wall. If you're a painter, some people like horsehair paint brushes and some like the cheapy ones. It is what it is. Like, it's quality, and Nike, Adidas. Everybody likes what they like, and whatever works best for you is
Yeah,
is what works.
good. It's good. It's just good you're not prejudiced on one or the other, man. Because it's like I said, when I hate walking into a shop and just seeing one of everything from one manufacturer. You know what I'm saying? You have no
Never walked.
from.
And that was my big thing when I opened up the shop, was to have diversity in there, bringing different lines of product in there. I mean, there's a lot of manufacturers that make a lot of great products, and like I said, the technology. My favorite is Century rods. I love Century rods, but I fish I have TFOs. I love my TFOs. I have quite a few Shimano jigging rods, which I love. I have a Jigging World. I have a Nexus. I love the rods. My Blackfish.
That's a hell of a rod.
Yeah, it's great.
That's a great Blackfish jigging rod right there.
Yeah. So I always like to see, you can't be this day and age and being in business, can't be just stuck into that ways. And it's funny because you do see that a lot, how a lot of guys are still in that backwoods. I mean, guys don't even use social media to their advantage. I mean, it's like, were you guys under a rock? And I'm 51 years old, and I'm far from a computer genius, but my job, I had to figure everything out with the computer systems.
Yeah.
And we had to change with the times and update stuff. And then my business now with social media, it's like when I first opened up the shop, we were like on the third page of Google.
Yeah.
And like, this is ridiculous. Doing a search for tackle shops and brick, and we're showing up on the third page.
Yeah.
So I figured out how to fix that. I contacted Google to give me a couple of hands, tell me what to do. Boom. Now we show up as number one on when you do a search.
Nice.
So I'm happy as hell over that. And it's just like, even with the tackle, you got to be diverse and bringing stuff in, not be so negative. I have guys come and call me up. Oh, I got this stuff. I get this. Come on down. Show me what you got.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It looks like something we could try out. I may do a small order. Like, I just had the guys from Beyond Braid call me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I never even touched the line. I have no clue how it feels, what it's like, what the product's like at all.
Yeah.
And he called me up and I said, you know what? I'll buy a spool off you. Send me a 300-yard spool of 30. No, I'll send it to you. Sends it to me. Checked it out. I had to cut my customers. I put it on one of my rods. I had one of my customers' rods. They liked it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I called him up, did a small order with him. And so I'm bringing his stuff in. I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like even like the Berkeley X9. Did you guys fish that yet?
No, I haven't.
I have about a week ago, and listen, I'm on the fence still, man.
Yeah.
On the fence.
It's switching me over though. It is switching me over from Power Pro.
Yeah.
It really is. And I love Power. I was a diehard Power Pro guy.
Right.
Everything Power Pro.
I'm not gonna lie. That's what I've been using for the past 6 years, and I love it. So
try the X9. Oh, it kind of for certain situations is perfect. Casting distance, a lot more casting distance. What I got from it.
I enjoy the Beyond Braid, man. I really do. Like, even the color matching stuff that's like 3-4 different colors on a spool.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives you an idea. You're out there blackfishing or sea bass fishing. You can kind of gauge the depth of what you're doing just by your braid. So yeah.
It's more technology what he's doing with it, and we brought in. I ordered a couple of spools, and we're going to see. Well, hopefully, I hopefully it takes off for these guys.
Yeah,
let's see that. A small business guy becomes successful. I love seeing that. It's the best feeling in the world.
Always go for the little guy, man. That's a great feeling.
My big thing originally when I was supposed to retire, would have been retiring next January. Would have been my official retirement if I didn't get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And my whole goal was moving down to Florida. So Aaron, I'm pretty jealous. Your videos, I'm pretty jealous there, buddy.
How do you think I feel? I was there for 6 months and I came back to Jersey.
Wow.
Frank, listen, I'm literally dying to get back to New Jersey, but like it's in my blood, it's in my soul to hunt for striped bass, dude. So it's like I've done fishery here, I've caught the fish here, I've experienced the whole everything but the Keys, and it's just I still have dreams and friggin' nightmares of not waking up in New Jersey striped bass fishing, dude. I really do.
That I get it. I mean, I miss it too, but you know what? It's a 2-hour flight.
Right. Yeah. No, I get it.
Much.
You know what I'm saying? So I rather my goal was I wanted to move down to the Keys. I love the Keys.
Yeah.
And
that's where I was living.
I was just down there for my 50th birthday. I was just down there. And I went fishing a few charters. And my big thing, I took a ride around Key West again. I've been down there quite a few times. But I took a ride around again. I'm like, why is there no major tackle shops or a decent tackle shop down here? Like in Jersey, you go all over tackle shops.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure on mainland Florida, right? There's a lot of tackle shops.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
The Keys really don't have much. I mean, they got a couple small shops, and they got bars in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sell cigarettes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is with the tackle shops in the Keys is they know that they are a necessity, especially for the quantity of charter captains that are out there. And the issue that I have with majority of the tackle shops that are down there, I was living in Marathon, and they will overprice the hell out of these captains. And like the captain has really no other choice. I mean, there's only so much that you can get pinfish in a trap or something like that. When you need clam, you don't always have the time to go out and catch your own bait. So a box of chum is $48, or at least it was when I was there.
Yeah.
That's a big part of a charter captain's, fishing trip is the chum. And they go through like 4 to 6 blocks a day, or a trip, I should say. And that's a big issue down there. And hopefully somebody goes down there, and who knows, maybe there'll be a Gabrielle bait and tackle down there.
I was talking about it with my son. I'm like, we're kind of ready to make some type of move. A couple of years, we'll see. I might, if I'm hoping someday my son wants to take over the shop fully, and I'm going to take over the other place. That's the goal. For them to manage those shops and run those shops. Okay. And I hope so that happens, and I'll be really happy if it does, because I want to leave him something too before I'm gone. Here you go. I left you this. Now you take it and do what you got to do with it. You can either be hungry, make it grow, become a successful business, and just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And then this way, that happens in a couple of years, and my butt's going down, and I'm going down there. And, like I said, I drove around, I looked around, I was talking to one of the charter captains down there. It was a pretty big charter company down there I was on. And he's handing me these old Finors that are just falling apart.
Yeah.
He says, who services your reels? He goes, nobody.
Right.
He says, nobody. Who fixes the rods down here? Nah, there's a couple guys here and there, but not really.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where are you getting your tackle from? He goes, well, I drive up to the mainland. And I'm like, there's 270 charter captains just in Key West.
I know. That's correct.
And there's no, if I took Gabrielle Tackle and brought it down there, I think it'd be very successful, because the concept we carry, everything we have, and be able to support these guys. 270 captains alone, and how many people come down there on vacation, rent houses, bring their boats, fish, all through the Keys. Yeah, so it's believe me, it's a big thought. I look at it this way: from 23 years of beating myself up being a fireman, and in all the bad weather and dealing with all the crap with it, my body's shot. So I'm in pain constantly with the cold weather, with this the rain we just had the last couple of days up here. It's been miserable. I went out trout fishing yesterday. I'm hobbling around like an idiot, going pain. And
so you need Florida, man, for the body.
I need Florida. When I'm down the Keys, I don't hurt. I feel good. I actually don't hurt, which is surprising. And it's like I don't want to die up here shoveling snow. I don't want to take a heart attack with a shovel in my hand, laying face first in a pile of snow. Which one of my neighbors finds me. There's Frank. He's dead. I want to die in an island with palm trees, and a fly rod in my hand, getting some bonefish and tarpon. That's the way I want to go out.
Damn right, man. Right.
Oh man! So once again, guys, this is Frank from Gabrielle's Bait and Tackle. We're running out of time, but I appreciate you coming on, man, and I wish you and your shop all the success in the world. And I will drop a link in the description below to your Facebook page so people get contact you, see what kind of products you got, and maybe they'll visit the shop and check you out.
That'd be awesome. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate having me on there. Aaron, hopefully I'll be down to visit to go down there fishing with you.
I'm ready when you are.
That'd be nice.
We're both ready, man. Always.
All right, guys.
All right, brother. Thanks. Oh man, that was a good one with Frank, man. What'd you think about that?
Honestly, I kind of regret not being in New Jersey now, knowing the guys I know from this podcast. But it's like the connections that we're making and the listeners are able to make from this podcast. Like I said in the beginning, it's priceless, man. To be able to go to someone like Frank and say, hey, I'm in the neighborhood, or I'm thinking about coming to the neighborhood. What charter boats are doing really well, or what area should I try to target? And Frank actually give that knowledge, man. I mean, it's priceless, dude. It really is.
Absolutely, man. And small tackle shops are the backbone of the industry and this thing that we love to do, which is, wet a line and catch some fish. And without them, the industry will get a lot tougher for sure. I mean, they're a voice for us. They're a guide for us. They have all the equipment we need. And please shop local. Support your local tackle shop. Bass Pro Shop, Cabela's, those are very nice places. But at the end of the day, they're backed by multi-billion-dollar companies.
Yeah.
You know, these small business owners, they have a family to feed and support, you know, and I'm all there for them as much as I can, for sure.
And Chris, just like you would want to leave something to your son or your child one day, just like I'm trying to do with my little one, Frank has such a a family mindset to where he's just trying to build something that he can literally hand down or have his young ones work for, and then continue that camaraderie between fishermen and the outdoorsmen alike. I mean, it's just, you gotta love the guy, you really do, man. If anything,
Absolutely.
sure.
And from what I've heard and seen, I mean, it's not like he sells junk. I mean, he sells quality gear that we all use.
Right.
You know, I'm a big believer in the phrase quality over quantity, and Gabriel Bait and Tackle definitely has quality. That's for sure.
For sure. And you know what? He even said, he prides himself with bringing in local plug builders and local rod builders and, fly tires and just a bunch of local guys. So it's one small mom and pop trying to spread the wealth amongst, the fishermen and the community that we all love. And, I don't know how anybody couldn't respect that guy for what he does. And I can't wait to get down to the tackle shop.
Absolutely. And once again, thank you, Frank, for your service of being a firefighter. We really appreciate it. So, guys, this week we're out of time. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. He's Aaron. I'm Chris, and we're out. Tight lines.